into introductions. My name is Eric Elgin from Oklahoma Interpack here in Muskogee, Oklahoma. Start anywhere. Start right here.
John Griffin, welcome to Griffin's.
My name is James Harberry. I'm with Boral Bricks.
William Whitfield from
Boral Bricks. Justin McKinnon, Boral Bricks. Terry Skaggs, Boral Bricks.
Scott Herndon with Boral Bricks.
Happy New Year, Indian Capital. Pick it up.
Big Marcy always played a lot.
Katie is weight loss.
David Clary, the Griffin semi-retired. I just go around for free food.
I'm Ryan Lamb with Action Engineering.
I'm Rodney Bond with Georgia Pacific.
Dan Morris, Advantage Controls.
I'm Scott Wood with Oklahoma Gas and Electric.
I'm Diane Justice for the food. I'm replacing David Clear.
Brad Kennedy with Kennedy Technology. Jerry Hooper, Indian Capital. Bill Montague with Incorp.
April Rollo, Indian Capital.
Derek Smith, Griffin Foods. Nick Burton, Griffin Foods. Jeff Mobile with Advantage Controls.
Randy Nestor with ATM 2000.
Andy Anderson,
Aaron Anderson with
Jim Anderson, no. Jim Eaton, Bank of Oklahoma.
I'm Rick Fairbolt, Stillwater.
Carol Armstrong Bank.
Ron Ray, Barebones Filmworks.
Melanie Grayson, Advantage Controls. Rebecca Thomas, Advantage Controls.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to, everybody should have a packet of minutes from the last meeting. I'd like to consider a motion to approve the minutes. We have a second? So moved. Done. Okay, this time, I would like to introduce John W. Griffin, CEO of Griffin Foods. He's going to give us a little update on Griffin Foods.
Okay, a little update on Griffin Foods. But kind of the overall companies, you may know, but we're three companies. We have the broadcasting unit, Griffin Communications. We have, which is Channel 6 in Tulsa, Channel 9 in Oklahoma City. And then we have House of Webster, which is gourmet, gourmet food products, a little bit different than what we do as far as here at Muskogee. And then Griffin Foods, we do a lot of retail, private label, and some institutional products. Griffin Communications was started by our father, our brothers, and my father back in the 50s. And today it consists of, as I said, Channel 9 Oklahoma City, Channel 6 in Tulsa. We also have KSBI, a smaller station in Oklahoma City that's an independent, and the CW in Tulsa, Channel 19. As far as the TV update, it's doing fantastic. We'll have a record year, a lot because of the political that's coming in that helps, but the economy is good. We're not seeing any slide in the economy, but maybe a little bit in Oklahoma City, none in Tulsa. The TV stations are the Tulsa's number 2 in the nation of CBS affiliates, and Channel 9 is number 4 in the nation. We lead our competition in demos by 2 share points, which is huge. And a lot of it is that we believe in our people. We put our resources to them. We've got the only helicopter in Tulsa. We give them all the best resources we can, and they thrive off it. We're not a corporately owned company. We put more money into the station, and in return it produces more profits. And I think that's real important to privately held versus corporately held, and try to make stock numbers and profits and stuff. House of Webster's having a very good year. We're up 27% revenue over last year, and it does a lot of gifting, it does a lot of co-packing, Some of the co-packing that we do is McElhaney's, their pepper jellies form on a national basis. We do a lot of other co-packing, some for Williams-Sonoma and some, smaller ones like we pack for Arnold's and have Arnold's Fruit Company here. The biggest impact this year is coming from a brand new industry in subscription-based foods. And you've seen ads for Blue Apron. Well, we're doing work with the leader in that called Hello Fresh. And it's subscription meals. They send it to your house, and for about 11, 12 bucks, you can have a meal that you prepare yourself. They send all the ingredients, and in turn, it's healthy, and you don't go to a restaurant and pay all the extras. And it's a $1.2 billion industry, and HelloFresh has only been around for 4 years. But we do a unique item in right here, 1.5 ounce. We're one of the few manufacturers in this size that we package. And we sell to Figgies, Swiss Colony. One of our larger customers is we put Hellman's mayonnaise in there for their hotels and airlines and things of that nature. But the HelloFresh is one that's since April is already our #1 customer. And they need portions, and we put barbecue sauce in, we put mustards, we put ketchups, and all kinds of different items that they really like in a smaller portion that goes to the consumer. They just pour it on the meal and follow the directions. So House of Webster's doing real good. Griffin Foods here has had a little bit of a slowdown this year. We've been hit hard with cost of goods, namely sweetener. The sweetener companies came to us and other regional companies that said, we're going to give you a 20% increase, take it or leave it. There's nothing we could do. And so that kind of put us in a bad place. And it's been a little slow. And manufacturing has its ups and downs. That's the bad news. The good news is, like HelloFresh, which is a game changer for House of Webster, here at Griffin Foods, we have 2 potential game changers that could be coming on board that could increase our manufacturing and increase the hiring for Griffin Foods. One of them looks real good. The other one is preliminary, but could have a good opportunity for us. I believe today you'll be getting a tour a little bit later on. I think we're running 24-ounce syrup, so you'll see some of the line and kind of what we do. We're not going to take you up on the 2nd floor. We're with processing, or the 3rd floor where we do mustard. It's awfully hot in the plant, so we're going to try to get you in, get you out as quick as we can so you can get kind of an idea of what we do. And feel free, we'll be divided up if you have any questions, or if you have any questions for me today, go ahead and feel free to ask. Any questions?
What about your jalapeno mustard? Is that still a staple, or? My family's addicted.
It's awfully good. We do pretty good with it. We've lost out with Walmart. They discontinued it. They brought in a buyer from, I think, somewhere. She made changes and they abruptly fired her. And Walmart has changed also. They've become more regional friendly just all of a sudden. And it's really helped us. And our new module for syrup kicks in here in the next week or so. And we're already seeing sales increase, and it'd be significant. I've talked to other regional people, manufacturers, and that's helped them too. So we're waiting to go into the new buyer for mustard, who should be more regional friendly, and be able to get the jalapeno mustard back in, and also be able to get more stores. The one thing that Walmart has done is they took a regular mustard, took it from way up here to more eye level, and we're seeing our sales increase dramatically. People saying, I didn't know you guys had mustard. Yeah?
Does Walmart have a mustard purchasing manager then?
Category manager, yes. Absolutely.
How long,
Yes.
oh, I'm sorry. I was wondering, how long has the regional focus been going on? Is that something?
With Walmart?
Yeah, with Walmart.
I think we heard about it about 2 months ago. Just happened with under their new leadership. But right,
John, where's your other facility you're talking about?
Rogers, Arkansas.
And that's the
House of Webster,
Rogers.
right next to Bentonville. And we just got 3 fruit spreads into Walmart from there. That's the first time we've ever really been in retail.
So they manufacture just like this facility?
They manufacture. They're set up. They don't have the line speed we do. They don't have the capacity of speed and low-cost manufacturing, but they have a lot more equipment and variations that they can run a lot more sizes, a lot more flavors, and set up differently. Profit margins are better at House of Webster and Griffin Foods, so they really help marry each other as far as kind of diversification of food. Anything else?
Like I say, House of Webster is set up for gifting. So if you or your family will make the Shameless Club, if you, your family, weddings, or employee gifting, we'd be more than happy. HouseofWebster.com. Check out our website. It's very, very interesting things on our website. We refreshed our website, and I think people would be totally, absolutely astonished at the work we can do there on House of Webster. Ship it rapidly good. All our customers, our folks, and big companies that we ship, they give us a list, we ship it rapidly.
Any other questions?
Did y'all build House of Webster or acquire?
What's that?
Did you build House of Webster?
Oh, we bought it back from Dell Webster back in 2006. It'd been around since 1935 or so. Anything else? Well, welcome to Griffin Foods. Feel free to, as you go on the tour, to ask any questions.
Thank you, John. Really interesting. Okay, so it's time for our program. If I could get Dan Morris up here, he's going to introduce.
And Nate, there's nothing wrong with a shameless plug, which is what I'm going to do right now. Our company has a new venture. It's called Truck Lungs. Truck Lungs are air tank running boards that can be personalized. It's an online business only. We launched it this week. We're on all the social media sites. I would much appreciate if you would write down trucklungs.com and like us and share us. This is a great experiment for us. We think it's a really cool product. Really excited about it. I got a set on my truck out front right by the parking garage, so if anybody wants to see it. So shameless plugs all around.
Website one more time.
Trucklungs.com. I'm really happy to introduce our guest, and I don't really think she needs much of an introduction, but I'll tell you my connection to what she's going to talk about. A couple years ago, we did an employee survey, and one of the things that our employees pointed out that they would like to have is more training. But we got a pretty diverse group of people working there, so when you say training, it's kind of a hard thing to figure out exactly what they're talking about. And I don't know if it wasn't just a fill-in-the-blank thing. But anyway, found out that Treasure had gotten involved with this colors program, and I participated in one of the classes and then brought her out, and she did a series of employee meetings. And it really helped us to gain a better level of understanding about people's personalities. We've actually made a couple of changes in where people sit and what they do based on what we've learned from her. So it sounds like a feel-good kind of thing, and it kind of is, but I think there's real benefits to our employees. I know they talked about it for weeks and displayed their little color tags and everything. So Treasure McKenzie.
All right.
I think most of you know me, for those of you who don't, I'm Treasure McKenzie. I worked at the local Muskogee Chamber of Commerce for 17 years until about 3 weeks ago when I recently became the director of a program in town called Bridges Out of Poverty. And last summer I decided to get trained and certified in True Colors because it is a program we used at the Chamber for our leadership Muskogee and our youth leadership class every year, and I decided, you know what, I might as well get trained so I can be teaching these classes anyway. And so it has been very useful, not only for training people in leadership positions, but when we started to go out to the chamber members and say, maybe you can use this as well, it became very successful. I first learned about True Colors from the lady who taught it to our leadership class, and her name was Elaine Dodd. At the time, she was the director, the first female director of the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics. I mean, I don't know if you know her, but she's pretty badass. So she's like using true colors with all of her department and all of her detectives, the police officers, because she said, when someone walks into my door, I need to know what color they are so I can communicate with them most effectively. I can help them be their best if I know how to communicate with them. So if it was good enough for the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics, I thought, you know, the chamber can use it as well. And it's fun and easy to remember. And it was really cool. I would think at Dan's place we trained 77 employees. And it was very interesting because when he called me, I thought, well, they're all going to be green because they're all analytical and they're all going to be engineers. I was really wrong. They have accountants and they have customer service people and then they have their engineers and they all have to work together. And how they communicate with each other became very interesting conversation in our training sessions. And then the engineers were like, oh, that's why customer service acts like that. And so we really were able to have those conversations. And so hopefully today I usually do this in a 3-hour or 2.5-hour seminar. And I'm going to squish it into 40 minutes, so I'm going to go really fast. I can talk 80 miles an hour with gusts up to 100. So keep up with me. If you have questions, you can take my card and we can talk later. I'd be happy to come out and help you with your organizations, even if it's just your leadership team, to help them just do something kind of fun and different. And this is the super short version. So we're going to go through. If you haven't already taken your quiz, go ahead and get started on that. You can listen. The rule is be honest and don't shoot off your neighbor. There is 2 sides. If you have not added your scores yet, each column, if you'll take your phone out and use your calculator if you need to, you can count. You should have 4 numbers when you're done. And when we get to that part, most of us will probably be done and we can skip right through that. So a little bit about true colors. It's something that kind of helps us reduce stress in our lives when we are communicating better with people maybe in our family or people that we work with every day. We can reduce to create some tolerance in difficult situations. We all have difficult situations, and instead of avoiding them, we have to go through them. And this will give you a tool to help go through them. We've all probably done Briggs and Myers. This is basically the same thing. It's just funner, easier to remember. So, because I cannot remember what letter I am, much less the people who walk in the room and look at me. So this is kind of what it's about, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, interacting with those around us. We're going to skip through some of this. We call this a self-reporting assessment, not a test, because there's no wrong answers. You can't get this wrong. It's just about you. And we're looking today for your true character, why it's called True Colors. We want you to use your unique gifts and talents to make a contribution to the world, enhance our wellness, our awareness, and value our differences. Everybody we work with are completely different. So for those of you who are green, you're going to need this slide. The rest of you won't care. But there is some history here on why this works and why it's important. We've heard of Hippocrates. He's the guy who kind of made the connection between we are what we eat, food and personality thing. Carl Jung came along and applied that to occupation. Myers-Briggs, we all know, he came and kind of put it into categories and gave it all letters. David Kirsten came along, put it into 16 personality groups, and the True Colors came and simplified all that into 4 colors, so we can remember it easier. So today we're looking for your dominant color. Everybody has a little bit of every color in them, and that's a good thing. Sometimes most of us will just have a dominant color or 2 dominant colors. And we can work in and operate out of any color at any time, but today we're going to talk about mostly your dominant color. One color is not better than another color, so fun comes in all colors and smart comes in all colors, so don't be ashamed of your color. And there will be no color bashing in this room right now. Afterwards, I don't care. You can do whatever you want. So we're just different, and we need to accept our differences. Anybody ever met anyone and just instantly said, I do not like them? Don't like them. Is it because maybe they're not like you? They're just very different and you just don't like them? Maybe. Maybe that's some of the things I want you to be thinking about as we go through this. Maybe we just accept their differences instead of just decide I don't like them. Anybody ever say, why'd they do that? Especially if it's about your employees. I say that all the time. Is there someone in your life you would like to understand or get along with better? Can you think of one person you could probably work on that relationship? Keep that person in mind as we go through this. Maybe this will help. Do you wish other people would be just like you? Anybody have kids? Who has kids? Who has more than one kid? Are those kids alike? Are they very different? So trying to treat them the same really doesn't work. Trying to make them like you. If they would just be like you, their life would be simple, right? So you spend 18 years trying to make them be like you, it doesn't work. You're just beating your head against the wall, don't do that. So instead, let's treat them for like who they are and the color that they are. God made us all differently for a reason. And so instead of trying to change them, let's accept them and enjoy them for who they are. But we also have to be aware of how other people see us. So just because I think I'm great doesn't mean everyone does. They may not like me. I might be that person that says, "Ooh, I don't like them." So we need to be aware of ourselves as we go through this. Today we're looking for our true self. It's who you are at the core. It's how you're hardwired. You're factory installed. That's a good word for you guys. Instead of your developed self, this may reflect your training and your education that you've had for your job, and your contextual self, which is more based on a situation. Maybe you're going through something right now, so you may test differently. If you're going through a divorce, you may feel a little more emotional right now. But what we're looking for today is who you were when you were a kid, basically. You can always think back to who you were as a child and how you acted and what you did and how you thought. Being equal does not mean being alike. Everybody sees the world differently, looks for different information, and feels satisfied by different outcomes. We all know kids learn differently, some learn by hearing, some by seeing. So let's get started. Most of you have already taken the quiz, both sides, and have scores, so you have 4 numbers. Okay, now I want you to turn to the next page with the pretty pictures on it. Put the pictures up. I want you to look at the pictures, and I just want you to look at the blue card and tell me, based on the pictures, what you see. The experience I had working in my weakest color for 4 years, I'm so much better at the job I have now because of those skill sets I learned. And so we'll go through, basically this is the last thing. What does success look like? When all members understand and accept the differences, they become a cohesive unit, maximizing each skill set. And that's what Advantage Controls did. They started to value each of the different departments for what they are and how they do their jobs. When they realized the customer service team were blues because they care about their customers, and they had the orange people who were mostly sales guys out in the world, telling the world how awesome Advantage Controls were, and your engineers who were green, who were building the product and solving the problems. And when they realized, and the accountant people who were very important, who make sure the paychecks get done on time, when they were all realizing that about each other and referring to each other's colors and treating each other that way, it makes the whole company run smoother. Stress levels go down. And so it mattered to them, and it was really cool the way they invited me to one of their company meetings where they all wore a shirt in their color, and they did a skit that we have, and it was so fun for them, and it's just creating a new vocabulary for their whole staff to be able to communicate with each other. And so I think it's very valuable. So when we're working together, we're at our best when we honor each color instead of trying to change everybody. That's all I have. Thank you, guys.
That was really, I'm a blue, and I did not see that coming. Okay, moving on. That was really good. Is there any old business? Does anyone have any new business or announcements that they'd like to make? Chief?
I mentioned truck lines.
You did.
Brains go out.
Eric, I will mention that the Biz Banquet is coming up in October, and nominations are going to be open pretty soon. You should be getting an email. So let's think about those categories this year. We've heard about one new product already today.
No announcements. So our next meeting will be September 21st at Valor X Star. We'll be emailing out more information as it becomes available. So meeting adjourned. If you're going to stay for the tour, stick around for a safety presentation, and we'll get that underway.
Are we going to get to see the other side of that wall?
The other side.
Yes, it's a warehouse.
Oh, no, what the box go back.
Oh.
Behind you.
Yeah.